All right, the end of Stranger Things is almost here, but the real story is just coming into focus. In this deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain on the finale's biggest secrets, secrets that have been hiding in plain sight for years, and show you how everything connects back to this final showdown. So let's just start with a number, 20. That's roughly how many times the Duffer Brothers script got rejected before Netflix finally gave them a shot. It's kind of crazy to think one of the biggest shows on the planet almost never even happened. So what was the problem? Well, the network executives they couldn't get it. They told the Duffers, look, you got to pick one. Is it a show for kids, or is it this dark, creepy investigation with Hopper? They just didn't believe you could do both at the same time. And get this, Hawkins, Indiana, it wasn't even in the picture at first. The show was originally called Montauk. And yeah, it was set on Long Island, with this whole creepy coastal town vibe directly inspired by Jaws, a world away from the Hawkins we know. Now, let's talk about a character who completely flipped the script on his own story. I'm talking about Steve Harrington, because in the original plan, he wasn't the heroic babysitter we all love. Oh no, he was written to be the absolute worst 80s movie villain you can imagine, a total jerk. So what changed? Well, it all came down to the actor, Joe Keery. The Duffer Brothers said he was just so charming and likable, way more than they ever expected, that they completely rewrote the character's entire arc. They threw out the villain plan and turned him into the hero. Okay, so a great story is one thing, but what really sells Stranger Things is the vibe, right? That perfect 80s feel. And the team's attention to detail to build the world of Hawkins it was absolutely obsessive. And when I say they were dedicated, I mean they were obsessed. The costume team literally handmade every single scrunchie to make sure it was a perfect match. The actors needed wigs and extensions just to keep those iconic hairstyles going. And for a really personal touch, the Duffers cast their own high school drama teacher as Ms. Harris, the very person who inspired them in the first place. But it's not just about the scrunchies and the hairspray. The real genius is in all the hidden details. We're talking cinematic references that are so much more than just fun little nods. They're actually clues, and the final season is loaded with them. So, speaking of hidden details, take a look at this outfit from 11. Does it ring a bell? It might just look like some random clothes, but trust me, every single piece was chosen for a very, very specific reason. If you guessed The Goonies, you are absolutely right. This is a total shot-for-shot tribute to one of the show's biggest inspirations. 11 is dressed exactly like Brand, Josh Brolin's character. It's just a perfect little love letter to the movies that made this show possible. And once you start looking, you see them everywhere. Holly Wheeler's bedroom? That's a perfect match for the haunted room in Poltergeist. Nancy's setting up all those booby traps? Straight out of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Even Vecna's terrifying entrance was inspired by that iconic Darth Vader scene in Rogue One. This is one of my favorite details. They actually built part of the world out here, in our world. That phone number on 11's missing poster? Yeah, it's a real number. If you call it, you actually get a message from the Hawkins police. It's such a cool way to pull you into their world. Okay, so let's start putting these pieces together. Because these aren't just fun little nods for movie nerds. This is all part of a much, much bigger plan. This entire universe was meticulously planned from the very beginning. And to really get it, you have to know about the official stage play, The First Shadow. A lot of people might skip it, but the Duffer Brothers themselves said it's totally canon and it is essential for understanding the finale. It shows us everything about a young Henry Creel way before he became Vecna. Because the play drops this massive bombshell. You know that date, November 6th? The day Will vanished? Well, it turns out that was not a random date. It's the exact same day that a hugely traumatic event happened to Henry Creel all the way back in 1959. That connection to Vecna has been there since day one. And this is where it all clicks into place for Will's character arc. Remember back in season 2, how his family used their happiest memories of him to try and pull him back from the mind flare? Well, get ready for the payoff. In season 5, Will is going to use those exact same memories to finally unlock his own powers. All right, so with all that backstory, what does it actually tell us about the finale itself? Well, the creators have started giving us some pretty clear hints about what we should, and maybe more importantly, what we shouldn't expect. First off, they've been shutting down some of the wilder fan theories. So no, it's not going to end with, it was all just a D&D game. And sorry to break your hearts, but Eddie Munson he's gone. for good. Instead of new monsters, they're taking the ones we know and leveling them up, like going from alien to aliens. But here's a really interesting piece of evidence. Leaked photos from the set might have just given away who makes it out alive. They seem to show both Hopper and Mike in a scene that looks like it's set in 1989, which would mean a 2-year time jump. If that's what we're seeing, it's a pretty big sign they both survive. So when you put it all together, from an actor's charm changing a character's fate to a single date connecting decades of history, you realize nothing was an accident. Every little detail was a breadcrumb. The only question left is, with everything that's been planned for so long, what's the final move that brings the story of Hawkins to an end?